He had been systematically transferring assets, had consulted with divorce attorneys about how to minimize alimony, and had been telling his secret partner that he was finally ready to get rid of the dead weight that was his marriage to Sarah. When this evidence was presented during the trial, even hardened courtroom observers were visibly shaken. Sarah Mitchell hadn't just discovered that her husband was living a double life. She had discovered that she had been the victim of a 20-year campaign of psychological torture designed to destroy her as a person while keeping her useful as camouflage for Robert's real life. The prosecution argued that regardless of Robert's deception, murder was never justified and that Sarah should have simply divorced him and moved on with her life. But the defense painted a picture of a woman who had been so systematically broken down and manipulated that she was no longer capable of rational decision-making when confronted with the truth about her marriage. Dr. Williams testified that Sarah exhibited all the signs of severe psychological abuse, including learned helplessness, complex trauma, and what she termed reality distortion syndrome. After 20 years of being told that her perceptions were wrong, that her needs didn't matter, and that she was fortunate to be tolerated by her husband, Sarah had lost the ability to trust her own judgment or believe she deserved better treatment. The revelation that Robert had been planning to abandon Sarah after destroying her financially and emotionally added another dimension to the case. Sarah hadn't just been living with a man who was deceiving her about his identity. She had been living with someone who viewed her as an obstacle to be removed once she was no longer useful to him. As the evidence mounted, public opinion began to shift dramatically. What had initially appeared to be a case of a wife overreacting to her husband's infidelity was revealed to be something far more sinister. Sarah Mitchell had spent 20 years married to someone who had never seen her as a human being deserving of love, respect, or basic honesty. The courtroom was silent as the final piece of evidence was presented. A letter Robert had written to his secret partner, dated just 1 week before his death, in which he detailed his plans to finally get rid of Sarah and described her as the biggest mistake of my life, but a necessary one for keeping up appearances. He had signed the letter, soon to be free of suburban hell and ready for our real life together. Sarah Mitchell had killed her husband just days before he was planning to destroy her completely and disappear from her life forever, leaving her emotionally and financially devastated at age 52 with no warning and no explanation. The question was no longer whether she was guilty of murder, but whether any reasonable person could have responded